What's up, everyone? Follow along as I try out one of Behr's trending colors on this chest. The color I chose from the palette is Black Sapphire. It's a dark navy. They describe it as being a deep blue black. I chose it because I liked the dark color, but also the muted tone of it. And so I thought it would look nice on this chest paired with some gold hardware. I thought this chest was pretty nice. The drawers are solid cedar, every single drawer. I found out that it's part of their Restoration Hardware's baby and child line. And so I went ahead and stripped the top and the base. I'm going to keep wood, and I scuff sanded the body where I am going to paint with the Black Sapphire. The top was a birch veneer, so I was a little worried about how that will stain. You'll see how that goes later, but here it is before. So first step after prepping everything was to, well, continue prepping and get the top and base taped off. I am using a gray tinted primer. It's the Zinsser 123. It's a water base. I just did that for convenience so I could put it through my sprayer without having to have too much trouble with cleanup. The nice thin consistency sprays pretty well. So just loading it into my canister, and we will get started on the first coat. Spraying about 6 to 8 inches away from the surface, keeping my wrist straight and trying not to turn it too much. Gets a nice even coverage. While that first coat dries, I'm going to spray paint the hardware with this metallic gold color from ColorMax, or Krylon ColorMax line. Has a primer built in, and I just scuff these up a little before to ensure adhesion. Now we will get a second coat of primer on here before we paint. And as always, when you prime, you notice some areas that need to be touched up. So after that second coat dried, I went ahead and put some wood filler on those, and I'll sand those down a little later. Now is the moment of truth. Let's open up this paint and check out the color. So I have to be honest, it's a little brighter than I thought it was going to be, but you know, paint always dries a little darker, so let's just get it on there and see how it goes. Let me know if you've ever tried this technique. I bought a little spout, but it didn't fit, so I tried this. My hands got dirty, but the can was pretty clean, so there it is. Water it down at all, so seeing how it's laying down. Just adjusting my knob a little to increase the flow a little bit, and that was working better for me. And yeah, I have to be honest, as I'm spraying, I'm not loving the color. But again, let's see what happens after it dries. So this is also my first time using this paint type itself, the the cabinet and trim from Behr, and I have to say it did spray pretty nice. It's very smooth, and it's supposed to level out, so there's a little bit of texture there, but I think it will probably smooth out. So after that dried, came in for a closer inspection to check out how it dried, and it looks quite good. Again, I'm not loving the color, but yeah, the texture as well. So next step, we're gonna stain the top. So I chose also my first time using Verithane's gel stain. I chose the color American Walnut, and again, I'm not loving the color as I'm looking at this, but let's see how it goes. It's also much thinner than I was expecting. I'm used to the General Finishes gel stain, which is very thick, like pudding, or even thicker. This was barely thicker than regular stain, I guess. But because this wood is birch plywood or veneer, I taking a precaution. I'm using a slip coat of mineral spirits to just try and get an even application. I'm just starting in circles and then going back and forth along with the grain and then getting the sides. And then wiping it back after a minute or two. It's kind of light. I was expecting that with the mineral spirits though. Probably do another coat. It's a little splotchy. Also was expecting that, so we'll see what we can do. Guys, I'm going to get the base, and I realized as I started putting this on that I didn't use the mineral spirit slip coat here, although I don't know what type of wood this is. The base is solid wood, but so it is absorbing more than the top did for sure. I'm just trying to be careful along the edge so I don't get it on the paint. Probably should have taped it, but I was worried about pulling the tape off, or sorry, pulling the paint off. And so then after a couple hours, I decided I was going to try another stain on top, this Kona, which is much darker, and I was wanting a darker color anyway, so I decided to try this out. Yeah, so this was much closer to the level of color that I was looking for, so happy there. As you can tell, I live close to the airport. Yeah, so technique here, I'm just I'm doing short strips and then wiping it back just so that I don't have one end dry up on me too much before I get back to it to wipe it down, and that usually works pretty well. And this is what it looked like after that application. Still a little splotchy. I think I'm going to tone it a bit at the end to try and even that out. So now just again going over the base with this new stain as well, just to keep everything nice and even. So the next day I came back with some tinted top coat. I'm using a satin finish, clear coat polyurethane, water-based, and I mixed in a little bit of General Finishes dye stain in dark brown, which is also water-based. And you can see it's just slightly changing the color a little bit, just helping it even things out. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with the level of color, darkness, and also evenness of the stain itself. And again, did the same thing down on the base. And that was it. After letting this dry overnight and putting the hardware back on, this is the result. What do you think? I'm not sure about the color. Putting the swatch up here, obviously it's not going to be perfect because our cameras or screens are different, but I'm seeing it close in some light, but in this light, for instance, I really just don't think it matches. It's much brighter, almost purple. I want to know what you think. Would you use this color on furniture? Thanks again for watching, and if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. See you next time.